Good evening, traders. So we're just going to have a look at the South African top 40, the Aussie, after the dramatic day that we've had today. So a couple of things that I just want to point out here, and I'm on the weekly right now, and we're on the South African cash chart. So the first thing I want to point out is, you see we have a flat cloud at the bottom here, right? And obviously price didn't get to there, but it did get to this part of the flat cloud, just about. Okay, but I just want to show you how these Brooks gaps are challenged. So let's just put it there. I didn't quite get it, so I'll move it on. Now. So remember, a Brooks gap is basically where price hasn't come back to challenge this tail. Okay, you can see this tail. Price broke through it on this candle all the way through, but you would expect the next candle or somewhere in the future for it to come back to challenge this gap. So these gaps are magnets. They are very critical levels that you need to pay attention to. You can see there's another one. There was another one here, and there was a little one there as well. So if I just add in, let's just put them, we'll make them blue, so that you know what I'm talking about. And and no, there's the next one. There. Let's leave that one. That's not really a clear-cut one. Okay, configure that close. Okay, so there are two Brooks gaps. Now, if we just drill back down and you have a look at what happened here. So last week we hit the Brooks gap and we reversed. Okay, now if we just come down to the daily and have a look, that Brooks gap lined up with a flat cloud. This one was pretty close to, well, you can see there, it basically lined up with the previous high of 22nd of May. Now this is, you can see, to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting it to hit down here in one day, but we'll see now why it did that. So let me go back to the weekly. So there's a couple of things here. So this lined up with the bottom of the cloud with the Brooks gap. Price hit there, buyer stepped in and immediately reversed off that level, and quite violently. So if we look at the 4 hour now remember this morning I had this range drawn in here. Okay, so we had that range drawn in, and I said to you, a break either side would determine the direction. So I was long at the bottom of this range and got stopped out, but then got back in. Okay, so, and I was actually quite naughty as well because I'd left a small long in at my entry, which was somewhere around here after hours. But essentially what's happened here, you can see the range break happened. We went all the way down, we hit the targets and the Brooks gap and immediately turned around. Okay, so just a point to note, I mean, I didn't have this Brooks gap drawn in on the weekly, and it's one of the first things that we should actually do. So a good reminder for future reference. So the big thing here is we moved essentially 1,500 odd points down and 1,500 points up. So we had a 3,000 point swing, which is massive in anybody's eyes. Okay, so just coming back to daily, this is a very, very positive rejection bar that we've got here. You can see the diversions as well. So this pointing to the upside, while price on the daily is pointing to the downside. So this is a very, very good rejection bar that we have here. And I just want to do that. So for me, the next level is really to break this downward trend line. Kijinson and Tikinson are still pointing to the downside, which is relatively negative. And if we just drill down to the 1 hour here, so this area at the bottom here, you can see my story of threes. When you see three tails like this on a level, this normally represents that there's a buyer stepping in, and there were. The buyer stepped in and we rallied up. So if you were lucky enough to get in at the bottom here, essentially your stop loss could be below Kijinson or Tikinson, and that would protect you from anything. But my concern is right now that we've hit the trend line, and what are we going to do next? So I think just go to the 4 hour on this. I just want to get a trend line in there and copy that trend line to there. Okay, so we have a downward channel. That range that we did have originally, this range, just mark it with a block. So that range did break to the downside. We're back inside that range. That one we can get rid of, which a couple of things are going to possibly play out here. So the first one is Kijinson is going to be holding up price, and Kijinson lines up with this trend line. So there's a good probability that that happens. But we also have a very big engulfing candle. So we've had an exhaustion candle to the downside, stretching for this target, and the buyers immediately stepped in, and we created an engulfing 4 hour engulfing candle into the close. So I'm still fairly bullish. I mean, this break here was, I really didn't expect it to happen in one afternoon. So anyway, that's the way the markets work. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. But yeah, so I mean, looking forward, there's definitely some scope for some upside. But what I'm looking for is, I think, just get onto the 1 hour, and we want to break up above this range. Break up above this range and a test in this area for us to be convinced to go long. I mean, if you look at where we are at the moment, 380, 390, so we are already indicating that there's going to be a gap up tomorrow. We're kind of in this area here on this purple line at the moment. So yeah, so we're hovering around this area. So we're ready with a gap up for tomorrow. It's going to be very interesting to see if we break this trend line. A break of this trend line brings the cloud into play, and then I expect us to sort of break through, come back, play around in the cloud before we pull off. But then again, we could do one of these moves to the upside. Who knows with this? And then I think the last thing I just want to point out is, let me set together. So the key driver to all of this was, as usual, NASPAS. NASPAS was down pretty much close to 8%, a little over 8% actually at one stage, and then they closed 1.2% to the positive, which is absolutely insane. Everything else is still slaughtered properly. We did get some recovery from some of the stocks, but yeah, I mean the retailers are still in panic mode with the whole Trump and his tariffs and China slapping tariffs on the US. So the interesting thing to see is how the market is going to play out. And I can actually pull that up for you quickly. Got a watch list here where we can see some of the movements at the moment. The DAX is closed, but Wall Street has rallied up. The US 500, the S&P is rallied up to the positive. Australia is positive as well going into their open. The US Russell, which is always an indication of when the bulls are stepping in, because they normally start with the Russell and then pull the other indexes up. That's also up at the moment as well. So yeah, a lot of things happening, and I think I'll share some more stuff from the US markets after close, probably tomorrow morning. But yeah, interesting day. Hope nobody got burnt too badly, and hope it helps. I'll catch up with you later.